appreciate those views. Dodgy camera skills. So you guys want to know what it's like living here with predators. It's probably the last thing you think about when we're looking to move over here. Personally, I think there's no excuse for arrogance and naivety when it's not a secret that there's plenty of predators here in Canada. And Canadians are very much, or the ones that I live around, very much like you live around them. The wildlife here, it was here before we were. We shall be here long after, hopefully. So you adapt your lifestyle and your living to that of your surroundings, which is right, totally right. Just jumped down to the harbour side of Spit instead of the open sea side because the tide's coming in. It's really awkward vlogging out here because it's quite busy, even though it looks like it's not. Off the main path it's not, but the main path is there. There's people just behind me. So when I first moved here, I was really nervous. I wouldn't leave the house, and then I got bear spray, then I would leave the house, then I wouldn't leave the house without bear spray. It's taken me a while to kind of get used to managing our impact and how we operate ourselves around and about. So for example, obviously you can't put your rubbish outside, it has to be kept in locked containers or in a garage. And Teddy's going to the loo, so bear with me. It's really difficult to vlog, whatever, while I've got the camera facing me, so I am going to leave you with this view and I will see you back in my off it. So trademarking that word. To talk to you about it properly. Okay, see you soon. So I tried to talk to you while I was taking the dogs out, but that was clearly a no-go. It was so busy, it was windy, I was distracted with dogs. So I thought I would come home and talk to you a little bit more about the predators and learning to live with predators. Start again a little bit. So obviously when you move to Canada, you need to take into consideration how you will manage yourself or how you will learn to live around big predators like bears, wolves, cougars, coyotes and things. And obviously there's the rattlesnakes as well, but it depends where you live with those, because we don't have those on the island. We also don't have grizzlies here, we only have the black bear, and ours are relatively small compared to the mainland. As well. So obviously I researched to see what black widow spiders, that's another thing. I researched to see what types of animals that we'd be living around. I also reached out to local people, and there is groups like Wildwise, which is a fantastic group if you're looking at education and how to minimize the risks of coming into contact, or to minimise conflict when coming into contact with wildlife. So I've looked at how you would handle yourself if you came face to face with a bear. I've looked at how you'd handle yourself if you came face to face with a wolf or a cougar. And then obviously talk to my husband and children about it. Now my husband's a little bit lax with it. He needs a reality check, but that may come further down the line. So where we live, there's been I think 2 or 3 wolf attacks on dogs in between January, February, March. There's been a lot of cougar attacks in the last few weeks, but obviously it's spring, so they're all coming further down the mountain, further into town. Obviously with construction moves into their habitat. You need to learn to live and coexist with wildlife around here. When I first moved here, I was so nervous. I wouldn't leave the house. I would leave the house. I'd go into town as long as I had the car. I wouldn't go walking or hiking with Nathan until he bought bear spray. Once he got that, I carried it everywhere with me. I do still carry it everywhere with me when we go hiking, but I carried it everywhere, like to walk to the shop or to walk to school. I had it with me all the time. It was kind of like a comfort blanket, and you know, it made me feel better. Now, as time has gone on, obviously I've not been carrying it like I did. I think I might start carrying it again. I'll get a smaller, they call it dog spray here, so but it's like a smaller pepper spray type thing, just to have in my pocket, because we do get cougars and bears in town. I know when we first arrived last year, when I was walking around, literally there was like a massive pile of bear poop on, there's like it's like a cut through from our road to the main road, which is like a little field, and I did notice it there, and it was pretty fresh. And there was one also through the snicket, which is on the other side. We must have walked through, or a couple of birds must have walked through, because there was another pile there as well. So maybe they use it as a track, or a game trail is what they call it. I did find it really difficult. I think coming into spring, I'm gonna go back in the way that my comfort zone may disappear a bit again. I did reach out to Brits that live in Canada and have been here for 8-9 years to see how they managed it. It's just something you've got to learn to live with, and if you lock yourself away, what's the point in moving? I have spoken to an expat who came out, I think she came out about 20 years ago, and she lives locally, and she said that she's stopped hiking. She's nervous when she goes out in the garden. She lives in East Souk, so there's a lot more like wolves, and there's been a lot more going on over there. She doesn't feel safe here anymore. So when I'd spoken to her, obviously I'd gone through how I'd felt when I first moved here, and I said, well, maybe you should be finding maybe a group to go hiking with, obviously, because the more people in a group, the less likely you're going to come into contact with something, because they don't tend to go out their way, they don't hunt people down, it's just accidental meetings, and it just depends how you conduct yourself during that, bumping into that certain wildlife is how things are, how you overcome it. Obviously with your animals as well, a lot of the attacks on the animals that I've spoken about has been because they are living more rural and their dogs have left the garden, or they've come into the garden and attacked the dogs, or when you're out walking, dogs have been off lead and gone off track. We did have one, I think it was yesterday morning, where the dog was walking quite far ahead of the owner, and the owner could see it, and it was pounced on by a cougar, and the dog's fine. Well, it's not fine, it's got injuries, but it's alive. But it was a big dog, so I think if you have something like a Chihuahua, thank God I left Roxy at home, we've got 2 terriers, so they stay on a lead. I tend to go down Whiffing Spit because there's a lot more people, and you don't really see anything like that down there, or I haven't, so I can let the dogs off a bit more. But when we go out and about, or if there's not many people about, I do keep them in the lead, specifically Max, because he has got hearing issues, so I don't want to have to try and call a dog back and he can't hear me. So yeah, that's kind of, it's a big thing. I mean, what I'll do is I'm going to pop a bit of information in this video about how you would conduct yourself in certain situations. I might see if I can link a couple of videos through, or if not, I can put them in the comments just to help you feel a bit more at ease. You need to think about your trash situation, so it's not like the UK, like your trash bin is left outside. Here you either keep it in a shed, or you keep it in a locked container, or in your garage, and you put it out only on, you don't ever put it out the night before. For trash collection days, you always put it out the morning of, because it reduces predators being attracted to it. You obviously, when we go hiking, or you've seen the videos where we've done like fire pits and done hot dogs and things like that, so I take Ziploc bags, and any rubbish or anything stays in the Ziploc bags, and I zip them back up, because fire doesn't put bears off. If they can smell something and they want to have a go at it, they'll come over. Please know, I have been here since October. My husband's been here since August, and neither one of us has seen hide or hair of a bear, a cougar, or anything at all. I think the only thing Nathan's really seen that he's really excited about is bloody raccoons. I've not seen one. I'm really gutted because I'm like really looking forward to seeing a raccoon from like the stories that Nathan told me, but I ain't seen one. You will find, if you go hiking or anything, or go to any of the national parks, if there has been sightings on certain animals, there will be a notification up so that you're to be more wary. If there was a sighting and I'd seen it, I would be finding somewhere else to go walk. But that's just me. I'm big, I don't run fast. I'm one of those that would trip you up and then make sure you got taken out first, because I can't outrun it. So yeah, I think it gets blown up bigger than what it is. Yes, there are predators here. No, you're not going to see them every freaking day unless you live in the mountains or very, very rurally. Then at that point you may bump into them a bit more. But you know, I live in a small town that we get a few. I've not, a lot of the locals, when they're spotted, they say, oh, you're really lucky to see one. We ain't seen one in X amount of years. And they're all very much like, they love the wildlife here. None of them want them relocated or shot. The only time anything like that happens is if like a bear or a cougar or a wolf becomes an issue. But yeah, they are very protective over their wildlife over here, so you need to keep how, you know, your thoughts maybe on it to Canadians. If you were a bit negative towards the wildlife, don't come. If you don't want it, and you don't want to have to adjust the way that you live and the way that you manage yourself when you're out and about, don't come. It's as simple as that. You know, you shouldn't expect another country or the wildlife in a different place that you don't come from to adjust to you. You need to adjust to it. So we have, my kids aren't bothered by it at all, but I think that's because kids don't think that way. I have to remind them. For example, we've had a couple of bears found in trees on like Evelyn's way she'd walk to school. She is registered with the bus, so she has been told now it's spring she needs to be getting the bus to and from school. If they are spotted around school, the kids are brought in. We had an instance where there was a bear around one side of the school, so the kids were moved away from it and brought indoors. And obviously there was teacher presence outside. There was no issue with that. I don't think, from my knowledge, that there's been many attacks on people where I live. It's all been attacks on pets. So just, you know, keep that in mind. I know you can buy a coat for smaller dogs, the one that I mentioned before. One makes it look like a freaking porcupine, multicoloured ray of sunshine porcupine, if you want to go down that route, because that would definitely put things off grabbing them. But I don't think my dogs would wear them. But it may be an option. I don't know. We've not thought of that yet. But yeah, that's all I've really got to. It's not a long video. Because I just wanted to talk to you about how I felt about living here. So I'm nervous. I was nervous when I got here. I still kind of got used to it now. Spring's coming around, so I'm starting to get a bit, you know, you just prepare yourself a bit more and you don't put yourself in a situation. My husband goes walking up in the potholes all the time on his own, which I said he shouldn't be doing at this point, because obviously things are waking up and are a little bit more active than they have been through winter. But the guy's been here since last summer, so he probably knows a bit more about it than I do. So yeah, adjust. It's not that hard. It's really important to be able to adjust your way of being to least impact these beautiful creatures that we get to live around. They're absolutely magnificent, and if you ever do get to see one and it's a positive experience, that's just amazing.